So apparently Amber Rose and Joseline Hernandez got to fighting on the most recent season of College Hill. As we all know, it wouldn't be College Hill without a fight. Of course, how could we ever forget the infamous fight with Vanessa, and I think her name was Christina or Crystal. I can't remember. All I know is it came out when I was in the 4th grade. Cause I remember I never forget that time we was in class, and well, it was the beginning of class, beginning of the day, and some of the my old classmates that came in the classroom. Oh my goodness, Vanessa got effed up. I forgot that child named Christina Crystal. I'm talking about child anyway. Uh, she had beat that girl with that heel. Vanessa's face was bloody, but anyway, it wouldn't be College Hill without a fight, of course. But nonetheless, I knew it was gonna be a fight up there because I told you how she was on Drink Champs not too long ago with Nori, however you say his name, and she was saying how it was gonna be a fight, but she wouldn't tell us who because it was gonna ruin the episode. They can't tell too much because if you tell everything that happened, won't nobody watch the show. So I'm not surprised that. Well, I am surprised, but I'm not surprised that they won't show us the fight. They say out of respect for the university, which I kind of think is crazy because that's one thing Bondi Blue said, why film it there if y'all not going to show us everything? And that's true. But I think with the way that television going, and then you got people always getting sued sometimes, sometimes it could be considered as a liability. I could see why people would think that, and sometimes if it's a university that's highly respected and, in the community and stuff like that, a lot of people don't really, a lot of companies don't really want to be associated with that, right? So they don't want to ruin the university's history and, and all that other stuff. But anyway, nonetheless, I'm not surprised. Like I told y'all, they wouldn't do it, but I know a lot of people wanted Amber Rose to win. Jocelyn was on. I find it kind of crazy how. I'm gonna tell you how I knew she lost. Right, a lot of people had said from the looks of it, the picture, it looked like Jocelyn lost. Right, which you could never judge the way a fight went by just a picture because you don't know if you catch in the beginning. Sometimes people could start off winning and end losing. We've all seen fights. We've all, for the most part, some of us, have been in fights. So we know how things could go, right? So here's the thing. I knew she lost when she was on the interview. If you listen to the interview she did with Drink Champs, where she had the blonde and black hair, it was like she kept trying to convince us that she could fight. Right? She kept saying, I've been in fights all my life and, this, that, and the third. And, and she gave us an example of how she was in the club and what she said something about she had fought some chick and some other mess. Look, Jocelyn it's one thing to be on a TV show, raising hell, being mouthy. But when it comes to the real streets, she gives me like a Johnny Blaze tease. Like, how we all saw Johnny Blaze turn up on the show, but then when we saw her like on a real street fight, I saw her real fight on YouTube. They got it removed now, but Johnny Blaze has been in a couple of fights on YouTube. But I saw the one where the girl had her on the ground kicking her in her back. I saw that fight, okay? They say Johnny Blaze was drunk, but I didn't see her get her ass kicked more than once, okay? We've all won some, we've all lost some. For my real brawlers out there, we know how you can lose some, you can win some, whatever, you live to fight another day. We all know that. For the real brawlers, I'm not talking about the ones that throw a bottle or may slap one person and think they tough. I'm talking about the ones that, for the ones out here that been fighting since elementary school. We know, okay? My last fight was in community college. So imagine from elementary school all the way up to community college. I done been tried and true, okay? So I'm not saying I'm the best, but I'm not saying I'm the weakest, okay? We all know how things could go, right? So I know when they said at first Jocelyn and Amber had words on social media, Jocelyn had told Amber she wasn't a real fighter because she's a pretty girl. And I call BS. I call BS because Amber has told us on multiple occasions the world had made her tough. And that's true. I can attest to that. I can attest to that because growing up, I had a speech impediment. I had real big boobs. So growing up, I had to learn to be tough over time because, I already talk funny. I had them real big boobs, and I've been told I come across as very soft spoken. So sometimes when you're soft spoken and stuff like that, bitches prey on stuff like that. You know, um, with my speech impediment and stuff like that, bitches prey on shit like that. So with some, I'm learning some, not all. So when she said Amber can't fight, you don't know what that girl can do. You don't know her story. You don't know her song. And I think that's probably part of the reason why a lot of people wanted Amber to win. Because just that remark alone, um, a lot of the times people may see one thing about an individual and they judge the overall thing. You cannot judge her fighting skills or her strength of abilities just by her appearance. Just like you can't look at somebody. That's the same thing as saying, oh, she's short and she's small, she can't rumble. I'm sure we've all seen small girls beat up big girls on World Star. We done seen some of the biggest of them get dropped. Just like we done seen skinny dudes knock big, tall dudes out. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure, I don't know if y'all seen that World Star video that hit like almost over 500 million views, where the skinny short guy two-piece the big guy in Walmart. And he dropped and hit his head on the register. And people was in the comments saying how he was trying to check out with his head. Okay, we've all seen that. I'm pretty sure majority of us seen that video. He two-piece that guy and they were saying he gave him a two-piece and biscuit. Okay, we've all seen some of them videos. Okay, so just like you saying, oh, she's pretty, she can't run, but that's the same thing as you saying, oh, that person's small, they can't beat that big person. That's a lie, right? So here's the thing. I knew she had lost when she had mentioned the fight on Drink Champs, and then all of a sudden she said, I've been fighting all my life. Like, I've been fighting all my life. Like, you trying to convince us or yourself. What you trying to do? What you trying to do? Because that little mess on Love and Hip Hop, that ain't nothing. That ain't nothing. When I heard people talk about their fighting stories, like I heard a girl say the other day, she made somebody cry. And I guess she was trying to intimidate me. I said, you think you tough because you made somebody cry? Girl, you look at me, people look at these curls and these pearls and they think they know me. You don't know me. You don't know me, baby. You don't know me. I done had to stare at somebody before. I done got jumped before. I done won some. I done lost some. You don't know me, baby. You don't know me. I done been fighting a girl one time and I done had two dudes jump on me to defend her. Okay, to get me up off of her. You don't know me. You ain't been through nothing. You can't tell me nothing unless you done been on top of a bitch and they had two dudes from behind punching you in the back of the head. Punch you in the back of the head, the back, kicking you, doing whatever they can to get you up off this girl. Okay? You don't know me, baby. You look at me now. You see me now. Okay, but you don't know me. I'm not the toughest, but I'm not the biggest. I'm not the toughest, but I'm not the weakest. Okay? With that being said, we need to stop judging people off appearance. We need to stop judging people off of how they come across, because as we can all see and we've all noticed, with life, not just with things like that, looks can be deceiving. I know I slaughtered that word, but y'all know what I mean. But other than that, everything is not what it appears to be at surface. I know a lot of people were saying that somebody gonna lead that fight. And I believe they are. Somebody somewhere probably had a phone. Um, these days when stuff like that go on, somebody somewhere got a phone. Okay, back when I was growing up, they didn't really start recording fights until I want to say high school. You know, they didn't really start recording fights. All this recording stuff, I hate to sound old, but it won't really out like that when I was growing up. High school, every now and then you may get somebody that got a recording a fight every now and then. But it won't really like it. This is all this world star stuff. This is something that um just came out. I ain't gonna say not too long ago, but like for example, when I was in middle school, they used to have diss pages. They used to have diss pages. By the time they got to high school, like from what I was told, my older cousin said diss pages came out back in her day, and she's older than me. So when she was telling me this, how old was I? Let's say when she graduated, when her younger sister graduated high school, I was in the first grade. No, because her younger sister got pregnant when she was 14. When did she graduate high school? Yep, she graduated high school when I was in the 7th grade. Was I the 7th grade? Hell, I don't know, but I remember. I think because they had held her back a couple of times because well, anyway, I remember them telling me about it. So I remember them telling me about the diss pages. So I remember telling them how, cause my good Judy at that time, she used to take us to the skating ring. So, I guess that's her way of being our chaperone. Because my dudes was older, so they wanted to make it so like, somebody, not to say cool, but somebody that was not too old, but kind of a little older to exercise discernment, you know. And plus they wanted somebody, if things got busy in the skating ring, because back in those days, we used to beef a lot with a other group of girls. So they wanted her to go just in case shit got real. They got somebody that, could really hang in there if if it got to go there, So, I remember telling her about it, that how they had my good Judy on. You'll see how this relates to the Jocelyn situation. I remember telling her how they had my good Judy on the diss page. See, they didn't have me on the diss page because I used to stay suspended all the time. So I used to be going to alternative school all the time. So I wasn't really in school long enough to really mingle with people. Versus her, she had beef with some people, but for the most part, she was a social butterfly. So she knew more people than me. Versus like me, my particular state, school lets in at September. By the time October come, I was already in alternative school. I can afford somebody. That gives you an idea of how quick fast I would be already in alternative school. So I remember telling her about diss pages in middle school. And she'll say, damn, they still do diss pages? They did that back in my day. I didn't know they were still doing that. So I want to say by the time we got to high school, they started recording stuff. See, back in alternative school, they confiscated all our phones. They didn't really do that. They didn't really do that back in alternative school, because they made you walk through the little thing. I forgot what I call it, the airport thing, where you walk through it and it take like a whole surveillance of your whole body. They wound us down with everything. I told y'all our version of alternative schools were rough. But yeah, nonetheless, I believe somebody got that. The more of the story, somebody got that video, because these days they done graduated from diss pages to recordings to world star. I believe somebody got that video. somebody will leak it sooner or later. But nonetheless, I think it's really sad. But I think it's really sad that we're living in a world where people still judging people off appearance. But nonetheless, I'm one of those people that think Amber run Amber won. Y'all, I'm at my night job. I'm so tired and sleepy. I am so tired and sleepy. I think Amber won. I really do. And I think, like I told you, I think a reason why I think the reason why a lot of people want Amber to win is because Joseline, I think she's more Bart than Bite. I think she got on Love and Hip Hop, and for a couple of people here and there, she just thinks she is so tough. And I just don't see it. I mean, I think we all like Joseline when she first came on Love and Hip Hop and stuff, how she turned up the show and stuff, but the thing is, I think as the years went on and Joseline's personality started to really come out, if you were really around her, I don't think she comes across as that likable. I really don't, but to each his own. I mean, and one thing, and I'm gonna tell you this, one thing that I don't think was a good idea, but it was a good idea for as far as television go, putting all those strong personalities in one house. Like I always tell y'all, two strong personalities don't mix. Two strong personalities do not mix. By no means. They will clash. They knew what they was doing when they put Joseline in the same house as New York. I haven't even looked at one episode yet. I saw a clipping. But from the clipping that I saw, it looked like they done put Joseline, Amber, and New York all in one house. They knew what they was doing. How in the world could you have thought on God's green land, how could you possibly thought that would have been a good idea? That was television gold. Even in real life, two strong personalities don't mix. At some point, because you're going to have one person that feel like they got to have the last word. You're going to have one that feel like, if they don't speak their mind, it's going to be a problem. How could you have thought that would have been a good idea? They did that shit on purpose. Simple as that. But other than that, y'all, it's almost time to go. I'm up here just killing time. Trying to burn some time. Other than that, I ain't talking about shit.